Good evening, dear viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Business. I'm your host for tonight, Mohammed Abdurrahim, and tonight with the state's efforts in the development of the industrial sector. And of course, great efforts are being conducted in this regard, including the national initiative IBDA or START, and is to localize industries, be it industries, small industries, even micro industries, and of course to depend on the local the industry to reduce imports, to create job opportunities. And in this regard, there are a lot of incentives, including usufruct, and that's giving lands to the concerned factories where they can use for periods of time, and of course tax incentives are also there, and a lot of initiatives regarding the training of the labor and the workforce and the talented workforce in this regard. So we'll be talking about the efforts to develop the industrial sector here in Egypt alongside our dear distinguished guest, engineer Mostafa, Wali, former general manager of the Federation of Egyptian Industries. A very good evening to you. It's a great pleasure as well to have you with us.
And it's the same pleasure as always.
Thank you, sir, and allow us as always, and allow us, dear viewers, to watch a report about our main topic for tonight, and then come back and start our discussion. Please stay with us.
President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi was briefed on the status of a number of files related to the industrial and urban development. Presidential spokesman Ahmed Fahmy said in a statement, this comes within the framework of the state's strategy to develop and modernize the industrial base, as well as ways to provide the industrial sector's needs for new and renewable energy, especially green hydrogen. Fahmy said that this is in addition to the ongoing efforts to localize the manufacture of the equipment and means of transportation. Those who attended the meeting with President el-Sisi are Deputy Prime Minister for Industrial Development and Minister of Industry and Transport, Lieutenant General Kamil El-Wazir, Head of the Armed Forces Financial Affairs Authority, Lieutenant General Ahmed El-Shazli, President's Advisor for Urban Planning, Major General Amir Sayed Ahmed, and Head of the Armed Forces Engineering Authority, Major General Ahmed El-Azizi. Over the past 9 years, the government has paid attention to establishing industrial complexes, contributing to new productive sectors, job creation, and increasing the national income. The National Industrial Development Strategy 2022-2023, 2026-2027 aims to achieve 5 main goals, including achieving an 8% industrial growth rate, increasing the industry shares of GDP to 20%, with annual industrial export growth of to 25%, and expanding the shift towards green industries and a circular economy to achieve $100 billion in exports.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and many thanks to Rasha Abdulhamid and Abir Hussein for this report. We're back here in the studio with engineer Mostafa Wali, the former general manager of the Federation of Egyptian Industries. So, an introduction, Dr. Wali, if you will, please. How do you assess the overall efforts of the state to develop the industrial sector, to increase its share of the GDP? And this, of course, is in the context of its overall vision for sustainable development and achieving SDGs.
Yeah, allow me first to express my deep understanding and appreciation for this introduction of this meeting and the issues and the contents of the discussion which have been there. And the goals which we are looking for when it comes to the future of Egypt, actually, it is put in a very scientific, a very practical, highly considered when it comes to implementation. That's very important, which means that those who are, those respected community who are caring for this, they are familiar, they know deeply what is there to be done. That's very important. So I felt that I must this way. If we get into the details, each of the components of let's say the grand project of developing the Egyptian industries to cope with the latest what's coming in the 21st century, you will find all the aspects which adhere to and followed up carefully and seriously taken care of from each and every responsible figure who is concerned and entitled to make it a success story. We can get into these details, there are many, but we can get to the basics of it. And the most important thing when it comes to the basics, there will be no tolerance actually to deviate it or only develop it. But I mean to believe in it, to know that this is the outcome of the real study of the actual situation. That's the only way which will put us on the road to achieve what we are looking for the Egyptian industries, which in return will reflect on the Egyptian economy and then the Egyptian people.
Right, Dr. Wali. I think you mentioned a very important point, and if I understood you correctly, you believe that the plan is practical and you believe that it's applicable. That's what I understood from this word. So it's not just dreams or putting goals that cannot be achieved. You think that these are realistic goals, applicable goals according to the resources that Egypt has.
First of all, it's the logic is there. Who knows what's going on in the world and what is needed. And of course, when you are aware of the basics and you know what's required, and then you build on it within a frame related to this sector, which is industry, which will maintain and will contain all the gifts of the human being. I mean, when it comes to education, to implementation of the knowledge, and then to manufacture, and then to reach to the level that you have a product, you need it, your society need it. And see, the community which are working in this field, they will find it is the people, the whole people, more or less, by the way. At least even as a consumer, which makes the circle complete. I want to show that, to confirm actually your question, yes, it is applicable, it is well studied, and hopefully it will be adhered to, as I mentioned, so strongly.
You don't want any deviation. This is the word you used a few minutes ago.
Absolutely.
No deviation from the plan.
The only thing is that if you can develop in the right direction, you can.
Modify, amend to the
for better. Or to amend some certain unforeseen situation, for example.
Right. Engineer Wali, the goal, as we heard in the report by our dear colleague, is to get the industrial sector's share of GDP to 20%. But you're a man of industry. I mean, for decades. I mean, this is your
my life.
Do you want to see? I mean, are you satisfied even with the goal of 20%, or do you think we should target a bigger goal? And the reason I'm asking this is, of course, we know that GDP can be contributed to via the industrial sector, the agricultural sector, the services sector, and other areas. But, I mean, how do you see the 20% goal for the industry?
Yes, it's achievable. It should be achievable first. It is achievable. and the increase of the current situation, which even fluctuation across the situation, you know, over the last 5 or 6 years. But 20% in our condition, in our circumstances, together with developing also the agriculture, then it will work. It will work really.
So we would like to see the share of the industrial and agricultural sectors to rise at the expense of the services sector?
No, because you actually, when you have, that's something which is sometimes, when you have a robust, well-established industry, then it means that you will have a production which is there with the specifications according to the international specifications, and you have it in a quantity, that's one, and according to the cost analysis, you know, competitive prices as a market. In this case, you are already, by doing this, you are raising your standards of life. I mean, you are achieving the goal, which making the availability and the competitiveness.
Yeah, because the main goal is to increase GDP.
Exactly.
I mean, so you're telling us that it's not an issue if this takes 20%.
You
or
put 30, it in the right
term. You want to grow, to see growth in the industrial, agriculture, services, and other sectors.
And that will immediately reflect in
the overall GDP, economy and
the GDP.
How do you see the national initiative start, IBDA, and its potential effect in the growth of the sector?
I remember we had discussion like this some months ago, you know, when it was first announced or launched. Essence, it has, you know, the sense of real, you know, practical and, you know, highly qualified or highly thinking way of life, you know. You put it in one word. And to us, in our culture, you know, start, it means that you didn't start, then you have to start, which have all the meaning of the push and the desire to reach some goal. That's one word, IBDA. Go ahead. It's like go ahead.
Just do it.
Just start it. Go ahead. Yeah. Anyway, I like this word, by the way. IBDA. IBDA. Whenever anything is there, IBDA, go. So and so on. Just talking about how how to make it even in one word. That's great. When you get into the details, it's well known. It's put in the right way. The only thing again is that how we will adhere and try our best amongst the most difficult situations to face the facts of life, to maintain at least the tough course to reach the goal of each item or of each objective of this initiative.
Okay. Some of the axes of the industrial development plan for Egypt depend on localizing the industry, what is called localizing the industry, and depending on local for manufacturing. Tell us about the importance of this vision and how, again, how applicable is it in over different sectors within the industrial sector.
Localization, you can put it in the simplest form of for understanding, is that whatever you can use locally to have a product, we are talking industry now, to have a product, competitive product, mainly, simply competitive in international standards and competitiveness in the price. Sometimes national standard itself will make price come next because it will be
costly.
Yeah, but anyway, that is the most important thing. That is the effect of localization. But it doesn't mean that if you it doesn't mean that you can produce or you can manufacture or you can produce anything or everything in life. That's not true. Otherwise, there will not be trade exchange between the big and small countries and the rich and the poor, as what's going on.
Right.
But the more you can have, the more is you are sure you at least you have the limit, or you are getting to the limit where you get satisfied, I mean as a market, as a supply. So your demand is already locally met. I mean the supply and demand is easy, you know, you feel it. And you can cope with it if one of it...
Let's talk about the supply. I mean, Egypt is a huge market, so the demand is always there. It always has been. It always will be there. But the supply. So again, I believe or understand that the main idea of depending on local components is try to diminish the dependence on imports and thus try to save your foreign currency and not spend it or in imports. So the idea is again important, depending on local components.
Through the series of reactions of that, why you have to buy things, because you don't have it and there is a demand for it. If you don't have it, then you have to buy it. Simple as that. So if you have it locally, but again, always you will find me, I find myself, always sticking to the idea, to the concept that it should be competitive in price and international standards.
In quality, in quality.
So we put it in, yes. The quality is in international standards, you know.
Because
so you can sell it anywhere in the world if you have an excess, you know. You can export in this case.
There is a demand, if I dare say, for everything in Egypt. I mean, there is a demand for basically everything. So you're also telling us that we cannot solely depend on local components. I mean, this is doable for any country in the world to depend 100% on local.
If it is a fact of life.
It is a fact
because
of
it has to do with
But we have to make the balance, because
of course,
in the past we've been relying too much on importing components of key industries, right? So which industries, I mean, can we depend on local components at a large scale?
I can give you generally the sectors. And meanwhile, even the sector itself cannot totally handle, but maximizing the demand, supply, demand, relation.
Depending on local components.
In my opinion, it will be engineering industries at large. Because the utilization of the raw material and has to do and will go through engineering industries, which is absolutely a little bit different, not absolutely, a little bit different than, for example, chemical industries.
Right.
Because chemical industries, you can have the basic raw material, but there is some additive material we don't have. You have to get from abroad, you have to import it. That's it. When we start, and by the way, when we start by engineering industries, then we actually...
We are serving, I guess, all sectors, or if we focus on engineering industries,
I mean,
then we might serve
I started with this. You are asking which industry. Start with this, because that's the real challenge. Because in this, you see, it is sub-industries. You will have a lot under these engineering industries, but you will have in this the latest technology. That's why the value is there. The value added in itself as an industry. You will have latest technology. You will have the finest brains, the finest quality of human being. Those who are trained in the latest and care of the achievements, information technology, in artificial intelligence. Now you see how it is going. By the way, we have now, if you go, we read it. We have a sector for chemical, we have a sector for mining or for minerals, mineral production, metallurgical, and you have for building material. We have all this. We have We have all these sectors. The only thing is that how each sector by itself you can develop it. In my opinion, the leader in this case, if we concentrate on engineering industry.
Okay. Engineer Wali, I guess any success in the path of developing the sector in Egypt will have to depend on partnerships and
Yes.
partnerships between
Yes.
specifically the private sector and the public sector. Tell us about the importance of that partnership and how are we moving in this regard.
I look at it from this angle. It is you have a wealth, divided between two sectors, and they are both in Egypt, and both are Egyptians. In everything, in the aspect, if they merge together, according to a very fair, quite fair and agreeable contracting, let's put it in the right word, or in agreeable form, in fairly devised and designed form, it will be for the benefit of both, and then for the simple as that. Now, our main task is to reach a clear and fair agreement such that if they get together or they compete even, it will be fair. Simple as that.
Okay, very clear. Are we doing enough in this area?
I feel now there is a lot of effort in this direction. I see it.
Okay. What about this partnership, again, between the private sector and the public sector, its importance to mega industries, big industries, medium-sized industries, micro industries? I mean, in which of these is it more important to have this partnership, or is it across the board?
To be realistic, the bigger is better in this case. The bigger is more effective. But the same concept can be applied. The same concept you apply. But let me tell you something. If you look at small and medium enterprises, I hope, of course, from a certain group or young men that are starting, initiating their project. Let's hope that they develop until they reach a certain level where they can find, some other from the sector, and in this case will be the public sector. Then they can contribute together, they can get together. One of them could be supplying the other, that's it.
Okay. How do you see the incentives given to the industrial community lately? For instance, user fraud and tax incentives and other incentives.
Yeah. Once we set up the plan that we want to, according to this plan, we want to reach such goals, then immediately we must maintain or must provide, must secure the minimum requirements to make it a success story. The minimum, because you can't have it all. For example, those who are successful, I'm talking now private sector, they aren't successful in their business and they are suffering, they are passing by troubled time concerning anything, but they prove themselves that they are okay in their sector and in their industry. The setup is there and the results are there. Then immediately we should intervene as a government. Here is now the role, or as a rules in the government.
Regulate.
Regulate, yes. Regulation immediately can be applied to say, to judge immediately. Time is essential, and say, this setup which is passing, we're talking now about problem, this setup deserve all the incentives, all the backup, because so and so and so, the number of so and so are like this. How many labor force are working there? How much product can already be achieved? And how much it will affect the total GDP, even by small figures. But at the end, it's local. It's local. And we managed to increase our production, which actually will be based again on productivity. That's another story, but that's it. And that's how the world was doing. I mean, look at these big names, you know, especially I mean, the emerging economies over the last, let's say, 50 years or something.
Well, certainly the exports division of the sector is something very important, and it is amongst the goals of the government to increase the exports and thus increase the flow of currency to the country. My question is, how do we make the balance between you know, increasing exports and getting foreign currency to our homeland, but at the same time meeting the demand of the local market? Because sometimes when we export a certain
on behalf of
this would affect,
negatively,
this would affect the local market negatively.
Right. I mean, when this happens, it means that it's not sufficient. The whole situation is not sufficient because we need. Then, okay, here is a calculation.
This is what I'm asking. Take the balance.
Here is a calculation. What if...
The equation,
yes, it's simple. What if we export X number and the return is Y foreign currency, Y units, you know. And what if we will, those who are responsible to import, and in this case I mean the state, in this case of course, especially because if it's not the state, then it will be left to the market again. And then again we will go into the same, you know, untangible situation, because we need, but we produce, we export, so not even satisfying what is required. This again will put us in the most difficult situation, which is can we the market, the local market, according to the rules of satisfaction, because you are going to sell for no loss. There must be a margin. In this case, it can be looked at as a case of which both are really difficult. Both are difficult, but which is less bad effect, you know, because at the end it will be hard currency invested and the hard currency, hard currency gain and loss. You satisfy, to make it simple, you will sacrifice your gain in foreign currency, but you will get your share, as a government, taxes and even if this private sector, because you can't prohibit him, but okay. And then again, this private sector needs some items. He needs at the end.
And when they get these items, when they import these items,
then again,
and they look for the profit margin that they deserve.
Yes.
Be difficult on the wallets of citizens. But if we don't export, then we won't have the needed foreign currency. So again, is there such an equation? Or is it about which commodity are we talking about, or which product are we talking about? And is this a key a top priority commodity or product, or is this a secondary or leisure product? I don't know. I'm asking you. You're the expert here.
Yes. I am not that expert, but I'm talking out of really.
It's really difficult to think of.
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. We are living it now. You know, our export of oil and oil products. Imagine when it was. Right now, we need all this oil, which is an export item. Just simple, So what will happen? What happened? Can we export it and we do not satisfy the local supply, the local demand? It happened that we had to share, even to the limit that, okay, some prices has to go up. So again, there are some items in the industry, in life, where actually it's either or. It's nothing like that, you know. I mean, there is no an alternative. We had to stop.
So it's
we
not
had to stop export, which
until we satisfy
yes,
the entire
we
100
to
100
have to. No, whatever, you know, whatever. It depends upon the situation. But
Right.
it might
Again,
come.
there is no equation. There is no fixed equation.
But the equation is just, you know, descriptive. Here is plus,
a guide.
here is minus.
It's a guide.
You know, it's a guide, yes.
Okay. Because it's remain a dilemma.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah.
We don't face it. Right now, there are problems in the world because of this issue.
Right.
Because of this issue.
Technology. Of course, any development, any sector nowadays depends on technology.
Yes.
So the aims of the technological for the development of the industry, how are we faring in this area, and what is needed?
I think we are doing fair, but we need to do much more. And I was very pleased to find that the second axis, you are talking about the axis, huh?
Right.
The second axis was training.
Right.
Was training. The first was
digital transformation,
digitization,
which has to do with technology.
Which, as remember, we have to get to the latest.
You know,
remember,
them by
we
heart.
started it.
You know them by heart now.
Yeah,
the four.
But the way it was put, you know, I was very
plan,
impressed,
yes.
as I told you in the beginning.
Right.
Yes.
So one is digital transformation.
There are four in general. They put it
Training,
in general.
or endorsing the industry, and the talked about the partnerships. So the technology dimension is very important, and we are doing okay.
Yes.
Fine. The state's vision dictates that we depend on as much as we can in the near and in the near future, not just for long-term.
According to plan.
Yeah, on clean energy.
Yes.
So,
yes.
What's your take here?
Well, it is not yet settled, the issue of the clean energy and the demand, and it's a big story now. Some people say it's a hoax, you know. But but anyway, it's true. By the way, sometimes.
What do you think? Because you're a member of the Arab syndicate for the Arab. Association for Energy?
No, I'm a member of the. I was the
energy committee of
the
syndicate of engineers.
Engineers, yes,
okay.
yes. I'm following it, you know. And soon there will be a very big meeting now. I mean, a conference talking about electrical energy. So anyway, when you look at this issue, you better have the following. You see exactly what do you have which can be related directly to the clean energy. And the clean energy, it's a big field. It's not that small. It's really big. But right now, the science and even the science itself proved that hydrogen is the best in this case, because we are looking for energy in the first place. We can be one of the hubs in Africa.
This is the state's goal.
Yes. And
in the region, in the entire region.
Yes. On continental level. That we are. And if we look at even Africa and Europe, then we are in a very, very important crossroad in this case. So clean energy and hydrogen in particular, because from now on you will hear about the colors of hydrogen.
Right, green hydrogen.
Yes, and you will have it in the gray. Anyway, but the most important thing, the hydrogen, the sources are well known. It is the water, and the water is there, and then we analyze it. You know the story.
H2O.
Yes.
You take
and you take H2, and then in the other case, it's, you know. So the most important thing in this case is that To have it, you have to invest. To have it, you have to invest. Invest in what? Of having the hydrogen. To have it as energy later on. Simple as that. It's a long story, but it's working. It can be. It can be.
Good. The training axis, how important is it, and how are we faring in it?
Always I have been thinking of this issue, because out of my career and meeting and seeing systems, I found those who have better education in general, and then better or advanced training and specific highly technological level. These are the societies which is doing well now, simple as that. So it is the most important once you have the base. The base, by the way, you have to start with it is educational, and then you get into the technical and vocational training. I mean technical education, and then the technical vocation, and then the higher achievement in the fields of engineering on the level of universities and above. And by the way, if there are some courses or some sciences which we should stress in it when it comes to have this level, it's mathematics.
Very important point.
Yes, because actually it's more than before. Before it was there, you know, oh my God. But now it's more important because what? The artificial intelligence, you will never grasp it, you can't deal with it unless you have a very good background. I mean, those who have to put the programs and all this. Just I wanted to mention this, you know.
A very important point that you've mentioned. So, sir, as we're wrapping up, how do you see the way forward in the efforts to develop the industrial sector? What proposals do you have? What ideas do you have maybe to enhance these efforts and boost them?
Humbly and actually modestly, and I have to confirm that the way this initiative was put in and the way it's explained, it is everything there. The only thing how to get to implement it, to achieve it. I am very impressed too. I mean, you can't add no more, no nothing, because those who have formulated this, it means they know what.
Very good. All right, on this note, dear viewers, on behalf of you, we thank very much our dear distinguished guest with us here in the studio, Engineer Mostafa Wali, the former General Manager of the Federation of Egyptian Industries. Always a great pleasure, sir.
Thank you very much. Same to me. Thank you.
And thank you, dear viewers, for watching us. Please stay with Nile TV.